What's going on? Jake here with Uncommon EDC, checking out the Knife Standards RR Standard. If you're not familiar with Knife Standards, he has a channel here on YouTube as well where he reviews knives, but this is the first design from him. Came in this nice hard case. It's lockable, foam inside, and really great case. Like that a lot. But the knife itself is the RR Standard. Like I said, his first design, the RR is his father's initials. He sadly passed away, but before he did, he had seen this design and really encouraged him to make it a reality. So I think without that encouragement, this probably wouldn't exist. So a really cool story behind that. For the story, dimensions, and kind of inspiration of the knife, all of that's probably better found on the Knife Standards channel. So I'm going to share my thoughts on it. I'll share the dimensions, but definitely check out his channel, which I'll link in the description below. Now, if you want to pick this up, they're right around $385 depending on the configuration. There's this version, there's a milled version, and a DLC version. And mine's a little bit different, so $385. This one has a bead blasted finish, which I believe is a one-of-one mirror polished edge done by Transparent Knives. So this version's not going to be available on the website, but with a satin finish, you will be able to buy it. And as far as I know, he doesn't sell on any other retailers, so this is only available on the website, and so I'm not going to have to shop around on pricing or anything like that. But really great first design from him. As you can see in the closed position, it's extremely symmetrical, which I always like, and you lose a little bit of that symmetry when you open it, but I think it's a kind of worthy trade-off. I looked at the Bestech Corgi recently, which was similarly symmetrical closed, but when you opened it, it kind of kept a lot of that symmetry. But what you lost was a little bit of the ergonomics. There wasn't anything to keep you from sliding up on that blade, whereas this one has this nice kind of finger cut out that really keeps you from sliding up onto that blade nicely. You do have a nice oversized sharpening choil that can double as a finger choil, but I don't really feel like I need it. You have plenty of hand space on the handle. This is a larger knife, a lot larger than, well, not a lot larger, a little bit larger than what I typically EDC. If you watch the channel, you know I typically am around 7 inches, 7.25 overall, and this one's coming in at just over 8 inches at 8.01 inches. But I've been really enjoying these kind of medium to larger size knives lately, and I have a couple recent pickups from different shows that are in the same kind of size range. So this is the ProTech Mordax. This is the CCKS version with the honeycomb pattern and the abalone button. But you can see they're almost identical in size. The Mordax might be slightly longer, but not significantly so. I got that at CCKS. I picked this up at Cal Knives. This is the ProTech Rockeye, the operator configuration. And you can see also similarly sized, slightly larger again, but just barely. So really have been enjoying this kind of size recently. And another thing that I often mention in videos is that I don't use pocket clips often, but with this size knife, that changes a little bit. And so I've been wearing a lot of 511 pants that have this mag pocket, so I'll use that as a dedicated knife pocket and carrying larger knives with a pocket clip. And so that's a little bit different than my normal. This one does have a wire pocket clip, which I'm not a huge fan of. Functionally, it works fine. Just aesthetically, I'm not a huge fan of wire pocket clips in general. He does sell a titanium version that will match whatever finish that you are getting for $25 on his website. Unfortunately, they've been sold out, so I haven't picked it up yet. But once those become available, I'm going to pick that up and swap it out for the titanium version. But functionally, it works. So onto that kind of show side, obviously super symmetrical, but also really clean. No branding of any sort. I don't think anywhere on the knife actually, but on the show side in particular, the hardware is only tooled on the non-show side, so super clean aesthetic. Part of that though is that you don't get a reversible pocket clip, so that pocket clip is right hand tip up only. It is a deep carry pocket clip, but cannot be reversed, and I don't know that he sold a left-handed configuration, so if you are left-handed, you may be kind of missing out a little bit there on the pocket clip. But overall, I think a really great design in this closed position and looks really great open as well. One of the things that I was concerned about before I had picked it up or handled it all, just from the pictures online, was the access to these thumb studs. So on the show side, you can see there's not a whole lot of space there, less than 1 millimeter between the frame and the thumb stud itself. On the non-show side, it's almost touching. It's might actually be touching, I don't know. I don't think it actually is touching, but it's pretty much touching. So I was worried that you wouldn't have enough access to those and it would make it difficult to flip this open, but after handling it, that was kind of a moot point because you have plenty of access. They're nice thick stump studs. They protrude just slightly over the frame and they're sloped, so you can really just kind of grip to the meat of your finger with your thumb. Flicks open easily, and even kind of that spidey middle finger flick, you have plenty of access, no problem flipping it open there either. And so was concerned about that going in, but happy to report that that was not an issue. So the handle on here is 4.54 inches, so nice full 4-finger grip. And again, with that kind of finger groove, don't really have any issues with that sliding up onto the blade. The pocket clip being in that centered position on the wider handle really disappears in the palm of your hand. You don't feel it whatsoever, and no hot spots at all on this one. You do have some jimping right here by the thumb stud, and it's really well done. It's been kind of a nitpick recently, I don't know why, but I've gotten a few knives that have super subtle jimping that almost don't do anything. They're just there for the sake of jimping, but this is not one of those. It grips your thumb really well and really kind of locks you into place. Magnacut on the blade, 3.6 inches, really nice compound hollow grind on here. It's a little bit thick at the spine at 0.14 inches, but with that hollow grind, it comes down to really thin at the edge and makes it kind of nice and slicey there. The thumb stud's tucked back enough behind the frame and that sharpening choil where it's not going to get in the way of cutting. And again, you can use that as a finger choil. It's large enough. It just doesn't really feel necessary and doesn't feel right, I guess. For me, I don't really need that. But I do like the kind of larger sharpening choil there anyway. The hardware is going to be all T8 and frame lock with a ceramic detent, ceramic ball bearings as well. So super smooth action on this. And it kind of just drops shut. It does hit your thumb right where the lock bar kind of locks when it's closed. And so that's kind of nice. It saves your fingernails a little bit. This isn't going to be a fingernail destroyer. And a really satisfying kind of thunk, I don't know how to describe the sound, really satisfying sound when it opens. I'm sure that's not something that goes into knife design, like sound design, but always like a nice ting or thunk or any kind of satisfying sound when they have them, and this one has a really satisfying sound and feel to it, which I like. Doesn't affect the kind of anything about the knife. It's just something that I always enjoy. So as far as kind of pros and cons go, I think this is really well done, really great materials. It feels good in the hand, super comfortable, and have really been enjoying this. I really only have two minor nitpicks. You can see there's a little bit of snail trailing here. That's not a nitpick, that's just something that you get with titanium. But only two minor nitpicks. One is the pocket clip, which luckily is replaceable, so don't have to worry about that for too much longer once that comes back in stock. But I guess the second being the price at $385. This is on the pricey side for a knife for sure. I would have loved to get both pocket clips at that price point, but I can't really complain either. I understand it's got premium materials. It's a decent size knife, so you have a lot of those premium materials, and it's OEM by Bestech, who does a great job, but he is a small maker. I don't think he had the volume to really negotiate on pricing, so I get it. It wasn't a deal breaker for me, but I do think it will be for some people because at that price point there's a lot of competition, and so really great knife, but competing with a lot of other really great knives. Like I said, would I like to pay less for it? Yeah, of course, but I get where he's at and not super upset with that. But again, at that price point, I would have loved to get that second pocket clip, but pretty minor gripe that I probably wouldn't have had at a lower price point. You know, if I were paying $200 for a knife, I'm not going to complain that I didn't get the second pocket clip, but at almost $400, or in this case, $450 for this version, I would have loved to get that second pocket clip, but being nitpicky, overall, I think a really great first design. I'm excited to check out his second design. I don't think I'm going to pre-order it just because of timing. I just bought my flight, hotel, and tickets to Blade Show Atlanta. That was pretty expensive. Trying to be frugal to have some spending money at Blade Show Atlanta, so probably not going to be spending a ton on knives over the next couple months, but I do hope to handle it and pick it up eventually. That one, the RR Station, it's available for pre-order now. I'll put links to both this as well as the pre-order It's going to be slightly larger, almost 9 inches. I think it was right around 8.75 inches. Vanex on the blade. You still have titanium, but with a carbon fiber inlay, I believe it was. But really good looking knife as well, and just a little bit larger. Definitely want to handle it before I pick it up, but if that's not possible, I'll still probably get it just after Blade Show. I don't know when that pre-order is actually shipping out anyway, so it may be that they're not even launched by Blade Show Atlanta, so we have a few months there, we'll see. But let me know what you think down in the comments below if you have this one, if you're pre-ordering the RR Station, and anything else that you want to talk about. It doesn't have to be related to this, but definitely check out his channel, check out the website. These are still available, $385 for that standard version, as well as the pre-order for the RR Station. There will be links to everything in the description below, but be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. And as always, I hope you have a great one. Take care.